Greetings, salutations, and welcome back, friends and neighbors, ladies and germs. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you out there in Radioland. We're catching up with the boys for part 2 of the 2023 Holiday Special Extravaganza, highlighting the Japanese G1 series. Here to catch us up on the action through song, Mr. Bing Crosby.
Oh, thank you, baby. Well, hit it. The headmaster's head on transectors bonding to. Two mics too furious, bring the hot takes to you. Outside the snow is falling, Shockwave is calling, woo-hoo. Come with Autopod Decepticast, we will talk you through. Super God, Super God, Super God, let's go. Master Force is the show. We're riding in a human-centric show. Alcohol, 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 alcohol. We had a snowball. Shockwave is still here and he's lonely. Shock Mommy is tall. Wait. No. Hey, cut it. What the hell? Hey, baby, what is this shit? It makes no sense. No. I'm going back to doing ads for General Electric. This is malarkey, man. The ghost of the iconic moment said this was a solid gig, and now I kind of just think he's some kind of fucking asshole messing with us dead celebrities. You can all go take a flying leap. Where's my car?
Well, get out of here then, you overrated crooner. I never liked you anyway, you Minute-Maid crumb bum. Your songs may be catchy, but so is the flu. All right, listener, batten down your hatches because we pick back up with the Transformers trio as they steam toward talking victory and zone. Now, we join our hero journey, already in progress.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Y'all want to talk about some victory?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's close this thing out. Only we've got another thing after it.
Oh, yeah. All right, Victory ran from March through December of 1989. And apparently, the full, like you said, Aaron, the full name of the show is Fight! Exclamation point. Super Robot Lifeform Transformers : Victory. I love it. In the early stages, the program was worked out by, again, Masumi Kaneda. In brief, Kaneda was the showrunner, like you said, of all the Japanese G1 cartoons. He wrote the early treatment for Victory, but for unknown reasons wasn't much involved in the show's actual production. Hiroyuki Hoshiyama gets head writer credit on this one. I saw that phrase a lot in researching Victory, for unknown reasons.
All right.
Apparently, a few of Kaneda's original ideas did make it to screen, as evidenced by the wildly different versions between the anime and the manga, which Kaneda did script. He scripted the manga. And I read that the manga is fucking way wilder than the show. And so, concerning the difference here, I'm just going to read the following passage from TF Wiki because I really couldn't paraphrase it. Kaneda's earliest treatment of the series, written in September 1988 and illustrated by Ban Megami, as seen at right. I'll put the illustrations they show on the website. I'll put them up on our website on Patreon. They included prototypical versions of the characters who would become Star Saber and Deathsaurus, with Brainmaster and Breast Force gimmicks already in place, as well as the Brainmaster Trio, the Multiforce, a non-bestial Victory Leo, and 4 main iterations of Breast Force. We'll talk about Breast Force a little bit.
Breast Force.
Breast Force. Perhaps most interestingly, characters based on Thunderwing, Crossblades, and Vroom all appear in prominent positions among the Decepticons, and the treatment obviously called for the return of all 6 Headmaster Juniors from Master Force to fill out the series' human cast, alongside Star Saber's human son, Jan? It's Jan. How do you say that? Anybody know?
Just say Jan.
John? Whatever. Minakaze. And I'll try to explain a lot of what these characters and classifications mean in the new character segment, but what immediately jumped out to me is that a version of Thunderwing was supposed to be in this show. It was a character I love from the Marvel comics. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Thunderwing is a rogue Decepticon pretender who got a hold of the Matrix and tainted it toward the end of the Marvel run. And I don't think he's ever been featured in an animated show.
Yeah, that makes me wonder why he wasn't a pretender in the previous series.
Yeah.
Since that was the pretender-centric one.
Maybe because they were doing humans.
Well, there were monster demon
That's true.
pretenders too, but he wasn't really a monster in his pretender shell. He looked more humanoid, just sort of evil. I don't know. One more question. Do you know if the Headmaster Junior characters, I think I read somewhere that the Headmaster Juniors, though, are no longer humanoid, though. They are like robots with personalities, and the human element is sort of excised from
they're
them.
not,
Is that incorrect?
No, it's not, but like they're not, the Headmaster Juniors really aren't, they're not in the show, they're just in the original treatment. They basically turned the Micromasters into that.
Okay.
So just for some of the new characters, there's some bananas-ass shit with these combiners. Oh, we'll talk about the characters in specific detail when I do the plot overview, but I'm going to lay out like the main players and the different classes of weirdos. So Starsaber is our main Autobot Supreme Commander, like Dwight D. Eisenhower in World War II. Deathsaurus is a Decepticon Emperor of Destruction, so he's our main antagonist. And then we have these Brain Masters, and there are 4 Brain Masters. Starsaber is one. He's the brain of courage. Blacker is the brain of strength. Laster is the brain of skill. And Braver is the brain of intelligence.
It's like calling the stomach the organ of food.
Yeah. And I don't know if maybe I do break it down a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what Brain Masters are kind of like Headmasters, but they have an extra power, basically. So then we have the Micromasters, which, holy shit, their lore is deep and wide. But suffice to say, the Micromasters from the planet Micro are miniature, more fuel-efficient versions of Guzzlers, which is what they pejoratively call full-size Cybertronians.
Oh, I wonder if this was...
Cybertronian racism.
Was this a little dig at at American automobile manufacturing?
I don't know. We were
They were
buying a lot
using
of
gas
Japanese
back then.
cars at the time.
That's true. Oh, yeah, it's so true, actually.
And to interject, I do think all
It's
the
way
Brain
ahead of that.
Masters, it is sort of like Headmasters, and I feel like there's transdector bodies, but they're little robots that go inside the bodies and wear these bigger bodies like protective armor.
The way it works, I believe, it is kind of like a Gundam, but everybody's a machine.
Right.
And like they go into a cockpit and then they come into the head.
Right.
Essentially. And I think I do talk about that a little bit in the weirdo part of what I know that I get to it. So, in the Micromasters, they're a subgroup of elite troops in the Galactic Defense Force of Sector 1. Basically, they're backwards headmasters. Whereas with headmasters in the Japanese series, small Cybertronians bond with larger transector robots, Brain Masters transfer their consciousness of a full Cybertronian into a Micromaster transector known as a brain or brain robo.
I get it now.
Then they link to their bigger bodies through a cockpit, migrating up into the helmet. And I know what you're thinking. That seems unnecessary
Why
and
did they do
stupid.
that?
It's like some kind of brain money laundering system. But there is a benefit. Although through this process, there's an unexpected side effect, which makes me wonder what the point was before they figured this out, where the Brain Master gets brain power to boost their courage, strength, intelligence, and skill. Sort of like equipping a plus weapon in D&D with a skill boost.
Oh, exactly.
I was going to say the same thing.
Or Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Dino Force. I know, I was sorry too. I thought this would be the Dinobots, but no.
Oh, really?
No. They're completely different. These guys seem to make the Dinobots look capable and brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Dino Force is basically Deathsaurus's brute squad. They're pretenders, but in a weird way where their shells also have a separate personality. And the leader of the group, Goryu, doesn't even get inside his shell. He sits on it. It's a T-Rex, and he sits on its back. Like Dino Riders. The 6 bots in this group can also combine to form Dino King.
Okay. There's so many combinations.
It gets fucking crazy.
I guess if you're throwing concepts out there, I guess they decided this is the venue for that. Because they got toys going with all this stuff?
Some, not very many.
They're spit.
I mean, they might be now at the time. Not very many came out, but
they're like, we gotta.
These look way not as cool as Dinobots.
So here we go. I guess we can finally get to what I think is probably just an unfortunate translation.
Sure.
Breast Force.
Yeah, there he is. Right.
Don't get excited, Caleb. I know how much you like adult breastfeeding porn, but it's not that.
Oh.
Oh, they're also known as chess masters. So why not just fucking call them that?
How about why do they call them booby robots?
What are these? So anyway, the Decepticon leader, Deathsaurus, is a member of this elite group of troopers. They're made up of the worst of the worst, including murderers, psychopaths, and convicts. Basically, the Waffen-SS of the Transformers series. Their suggestive name derives from the fact that they are partnered with breast animals who transform into their breastplate armor from animal or gun mode.
Gotcha.
So, plot overview.
Yes, Hellbat was a breastmaster. I was confused.
Yeah, Hellbat. Yeah. The interesting thing about this series is that after what is, for some people, the complicated Master Force, deep and complicated Master Force series, Victory was more of a back-to-basics kind of jam. It kind of harkens back to USG-1, where the core of the series is much more episodic, as opposed to having through lines that affect the show overall. We kind of return to a system of rating power stations of the week, and it's very focused on action. And the characters aren't very well defined either, especially coming after Master Force, which people seem to like the characters in that, at least on the Autobot side. Everyone but Starsaber is pretty weak on personality until we get a dedicated Victory Leo episode, but that's way near the end of the series. The animation is by Toei, and it's fucking beautiful. As to the plot of the series as a whole, it's the year 2025. The Decepticons were defeated in the Master Force War and have started attacking other planets in the universe. The Autobots decide to join with several different civilizations, including humans, so we're back on Earth again, in the Galactic Peace Alliance to battle the Decepticon menace. The new Autobot Supreme Commander, Starsaber, is head of the Sector 1 Defense Force, along with the Brainmasters and Multiforce. God Ginrai... How do we pronounce his name?
Jinrai?
Jinrai?
Yeah.
God Jinrai is in this series and leads Sector 2, but there's no human involved in him anymore.
Okay.
He's lost his human. We barely see him in this one because we have to sell toys, and his toy was old.
Right.
Plus, his body is kind of just Optimus, like Power Master Prime, and it would have been confusing, they say, to have him in there. It's too much. So the toy, like I said, the toy is Power Master Prime with a bunch of more armor on it. It's quite...
The God Bomber armor?
Yeah, it's fucking
the
insane.
wings and
It has
shit.
like 2 trailers that become his legs and stuff. Starsaber's main antagonist is the Decepticon Emperor of Destruction, Deathsaurus, or that's what he's called in English. I also found him referred to as Deathsaurus. So whatever, which I like better. Whatever his name, Deathsaurus is raiding energy resources to free a huge and very cleverly named planet-destroying fortress trapped in the Dark Nebula years ago by Starsaber himself. I also read that at least one of his motivations is to free civilian Decepticons and their families, like some kind of weird MCU Thanos committing horrible atrocities for the greater good. I don't know. Most of the series does take place on Earth, complete with a child sidekick named Jan Minakaze, adopted by Starsaber after the kid's whole fucking family was killed in a Decepticon attack when he was an infant.
Aw.
We then get kind of a series of escalating powers, as per usual with these series. More Decepticons, including the Breast Force Squad, led by Leozak, who is conniving to take over leadership from Deathsaurus, who is also a Breast Force member. We do the energy raid game thing.
And Leozak is part of the Combiner team, right?
Yeah.
Part of the Combiner team? Okay.
But not the Dino
Not
guy.
the Dino
No,
guys.
they're also a Combiner team. They can become Dino King. We do the energy raid game for a minute, and then Breast Force goes after the Micromasters planet, again, cleverly named Micro, and free their Decepticon teammate Skyhawk. Guess what he turns into?
A rodent.
Yep. The Breast Force can now combine into Leo Kaiser and defeat Starsaber. So that's their combiner team. The Autobots get backup from Six-Changer Samurai Great Shot, but are still forced to ask for aid from God Jinrai of Sector 2. Great Shot is basically the character we know from as Six Shot.
Right. I guess he's contemplated the universe and become sort of a good guy, but still a little roguish.
Yeah, he's decided to be on this side of this fight for now. Jinrai is fatally wounded by Deathsaurus, but it's cool because he's immediately resurrected as Victory Leo by Wheeljack, which Alphamagnus has some things to say about that. Maybe I'll slide that in here.
I don't care where you guys put it in here. The only thing that I really wanted to add to the victory thing is actually something we touched on earlier. Is that Wheeljack shows up in an episode of Victory?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's real weird because he shows up and it's like a pivotal point. It's not just like, hey, here's some guy named Wheeljack. He was here before. No, he literally is what creates. Like he takes Jinrai, who is a previous
Godmaster.
He's a Power Master version of Optimus who isn't Optimus.
Right.
He ends up taking dead Jinrai and turning him into Victory Leo. Without Wheeljack, that doesn't happen. So there's no way you can just like, oh, it doesn't happen here. Yeah, Victory was the one that I actually really watched a lot, and I was like, what the fuck is Wheeljack doing?
I have I have that point later because I'm the one who covers Victory. But the theory is that the movie hadn't come out in Japan yet.
Oh, that's what happened. Like it just hadn't been released.
What's the retcon to make that?
My fan theory is that Exhaust painted himself like Wheeljack and was going to do some espionage stuff, and then Megatron came in and just blew the hell out of everything.
I like that.
Because he's like a merc. He's not a Exhaust is Wheeljack, but different color, or Slicer, or one of those other versions that is Wheeljack recolored. But I like the idea that Exhaust, who is the Marlboro colored Wheeljack, just like painted himself a little green, went in there to do some stuff, and then just was immediately murdered by Devastator. So that's my personal retcon, because like he doesn't really exist, but that toy did exist.
Oh, I see. That's what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
It's the
in the movie,
not the Victory.
In the movie,
series.
it's actually like the mercenary version of Wheeljack comes in there,
Sure.
and he's like, "I'm gonna dress like Wheeljack, and I'm gonna get some stuff done," and then he's immediately killed. And then Wheeljack's in like Aruba or something, making like an 18th Dinobot for no reason that's gonna explode.
Good for
and then
him.
he just shows up. He's like, "What's going on here, guys? This is weird."
But he doesn't show up again for I don't know 100 years or whatever the time span is between 1986
2025, I think, is what.
2025.
20. So in a couple of years, he shows up and he's like, "Hey, here's Jinrai.
He's
and
got
I'm
a
gonna
van.
build you."
I love it.
Jinrai's dead, but I love bringing things back to life for no reason.
Does.
I like the idea that Wheeljack just had a beach shack bar, like
I'd go.
a tiki bar on the beach. in
Jack's
the
Shack.
Caribbean.
Jack Shack.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Like with those cheesy ass television T-shirts, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Jack.
Like a senior Frogs style.
Yeah.
That's another idea for the booty box.
I got jacked at the shack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasting away again in Margaritaville.
There you go.
R.I.P.
Sorry if I derailed that too
No,
much.
I'll put that in
It's
somewhere.
not
so In the meantime, Deathsaurus liberates his massive fortress from the Dark Nebula, planning to use it on Earth. But there's a new Autobot power-up. Star Saber and Victory Leo combine to form Victory Saber in an animated sequence that I bet is fucking awesome and takes like a full minute of screen time, but I did not look up for some reason.
There's a lot going on here.
Oh, yeah. Well, not
We
really.
can't keep it all straight.
It's not a lot going on.
All right. Well, never mind. I mean, there's a lot to look up if we need to.
Yeah, the story is pretty straightforward. Bad guy. It's basically like Megatron. Just bad guy raiding energy resources to destroy things.
Right.
This series does take the bold step. That's the plot summary. That's it. He defeats Thesaurus. Victory Saber.
Gotcha.
This series takes the bold step of having 32 regular episodes and a staggering 6 clip shows that have no through line, are just random scenes put together. So that's 38 episodes. But then, after the series ended, another 6 fucking clip shows were put together by Matsumi Kaneda, available exclusively through home video, because Japanese TV almost never broadcasts them. I mean, who the fuck wants to buy a clip show collection of a series that presumably, if you like, you have the originals on home media anyway? It sounds like an excellent setup for clueless grandparents who get you a disappointing birthday gift.
It's like it's kind of could be a greatest hits compilation. Hall & Oates greatest hits.
Except
Yeah,
it's like
if their greatest hits were... So basically,
parts-
okay, so...
it would be that. Hold on. That would be like if you're gutting a Hall & Oates compilation of some of the best parts of certain songs.
Right, true. Good point.
Like,
Doesn't quite work.
technically, there are 44 episodes, but a third of them are recycled clip shows, which is egregious to call that 44 episodes.
I can't go for that.
It's just no, I can't.
She's a man-eater. Sarah, smile.
I don't know that one.
You know, yeah.
So it's like it's almost as if he's like, "Hey, Kaneda, now that the series is over, what should we do?" Well, I don't know. How about like something I like to call like just a money grab?
Sure.
You've done it again, Kay. Anyway, the charitable reason there were so many clip shows is that there was a rush production style coupled with a stretched budget, and the extremely high quality animation led to problems of delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they have a syndication system like we do, and they had to deliver so many episodes to hit
Yeah,
that
that
mark, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't do that with Zone, but
Yeah.
I couldn't find much about the specifics on this, but like we talked about in just a little bit ago, Wheeljack and Perceptor make appearances in Victory. Wheeljack, I believe, complains also about how there are too many classes of Transformers to keep track of now, which is very funny.
I like that.
The score for the show was written by Chume Watanabe, who also did the score for Zone, in addition to a ton of other credits stretching back to the 1950s that we just don't have time to go into here. We have the ubiquitous issue with scale in the Transformers universe here. Supposedly, the Micromasters were about human-sized, but that doesn't really hold up because they seem just a little shorter than standard-sized Autobots. And according to CF Wiki, basically the only reason they seem micro is because everyone else in Victory is fucking enormous.
Right.
In the original US series, Optimus Prime is 6 meters or 20 feet tall. Starsaber is 22 meters or 72 feet tall. Mm-hmm. So Prime would come up to his knee.
So the Brain Master is all basically a normal-sized Transformer.
Well, Starsaber is a Brainmaster.
But I mean, the Brain Master.
Oh, the
inside
Brainmaster
of him.
component, yeah.
You blew my mind earlier when you said that the Transtector is not the bigger robot, but rather the smaller robot that's inside them.
Yeah, it's real strange.
The bigger robot was at one point its own
guy.
entity, and he said, how about I build this smaller guy, put my brain inside of it, and then he gets to go back inside of me.
Yeah, and so, but it had an unexpected side effect that was a benefit, but I'm like, what was the point? That's what I'm saying. Like, what did you think was going to happen? I don't know. There probably is a reason, but since I haven't watched the show, I don't know what it is.
Be lost in translation and lack of research and experience.
This is a fun thing, though. Hammer space gets finally explained in this series, sort of. For anyone who doesn't know, Hammer space is an invisible, magical storage area, particularly in animated fiction, where you can pull, like, a comically oversized hammer out to whack somebody over the head, like in Looney Tunes, or like a bag of holding in D&D. In Transformers, it's where weapons just appear or where Optimus's trailer goes and comes back from. Mm-hmm. In this series, it is explained that Cybertronians have an energy ability to bring weapons out of thin air, though they can't access those weapons if they run out of this nebulous energy. And if you want a particularly fun example outside of Transformers, it's like Shard Blades in Brandon Sanderson's excellent Stormlight series, where it takes 10 heartbeats to summon your Shard Blade. That's for anybody who's read that. I know you guys haven't. Love Brandon Sanderson. Excellent author. So, yeah, that's fucking Victory.
Excellent.
A lot of new weird... I think it sounds better than Master Force, honestly. But
I like how straightforward it seems.
yeah, it seems real. Just that, like I said, back to basics.
While I don't love the designs of the characters in Master Force, I was flipping through some of these Victory characters. I love the designs of the Victory characters.
Don't you have Starsaber?
I do have the Masterpiece Starsaber.
They're very
yes.
dynamic.
Yeah,
I mean,
like them too.
they really, like, very colorful, lots of parts on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, dynamic.
Deathsaurus in particular is a really cool looking character. I also was looking up Great Shot, and apparently, I guess, the Victory cartoon never makes it explicit that he is Six Shot in a new identity, but that was retconned at some point relatively recently, but it is official. I mean, it is part of the canon, the G1 canon. It was retconned that way in the Legends comic book series, which is the manga that is ongoing to this day.
When I see characters like this.
Manga? I
Manga?
probably.
Manga?
Sorry, everybody.
I've heard it manga,
I got a
manga.
cold.
When a lot of characters I see like this, where they're, it seems to me when it's almost like they design the robots first, and then they're like, then we try to fit it into something.
I think it's always been that way. I mean, that was the original. That was basically all toys and cartoons from the 80s.
I mean, do you think they designed like Soundwave and Optimus Prime, like, and then tried to figure out how to fit a truck to it? There just seems to be more liberty with these later characters, where like it's a robot, and I don't need to see elements of what its alt mode is going to be. It doesn't matter as much.
I don't.
I see what you mean.
So
like a car first, rather.
Like,
than
I don't need
this weird futuristic spaceship.
Oh, I see what you're
it's
saying.
just
You're
like,
saying they want the basically the bipedal version or whatever the robot version
Yeah.
is, and then they back engineer it into a vehicle.
yeah.
That would be really hard.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
But with some of these vehicles, like all of Six Shot or Great Shot's forms,
They can get away with
like
more.
they don't really look like anything.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can just
and
be
a
like
lot of
whatever.
these characters turn into ships, so you can get away with a lot, especially
Yes.
spaceships.
So there's more liberty to make the characters look more dynamic,
Yeah.
more samurai, more warrior looking. Because their alt modes are also more fantastic.
And they're not
More-
based in a reality.
Yeah, their alt modes are more
Exactly.
fantastical. It's like it can become this mechanism.
They're no longer robots in disguise.
Doesn't-
Be like
yeah.
a starship doesn't look
You're
like
right.
that.
They don't have to be in disguise anymore. It doesn't matter.
And when you look in their Cybertronian, I mean, arguably, disguise wouldn't have been the thing when they're on Cybertron anyway.
That was more about
that's just
power.
utility, right?
Right.
Holy shit! The phone's ringing.
It is I again, coming with more Optimus cheer. So I read the back of the VHS, and I realized that was not the movie I thought I sent you. That was a reenactment of the White Christmas movie, and this is the next part. Is where they
this is
gather
all White
together.
Christmas. I get it now.
Yeah. It's amazing. And they, I don't believe the translators were working that day, and they might have put QAnon on there, but it's fine. This is the scene where they gather together to save a boat or a lodge of some sort. I can't really understand it. I don't know what either of those things are. I am told I am now an upside down boat, but it's all good.
I'm
'Cause
trying
I
to
got me
understand
some-
here. So
Yeah.
the Autobots are reenacting White Christmas for the purposes of their entertainment.
Or it could be that we're just seeing stuff that has been shoehorned into a method of kind of doing the plot of White Christmas. Maybe they were trying for an avant-garde sort of art project.
It's a real 200 motels kind of thing.
It is.
I actually, guys, I believe this was a Galvatron plan, was to use them as puppets, and for some reason he just decided to make them do this instead. It's a very weird man. I don't understand him.
Some would say this whole thing is a very weird bit that might not work completely. But I guess we'll see this new video.
Yeah, it's kind of on them, the producers of the video.
Yeah.
To prove that.
Certainly not us.
No. I guess, okay, transmit video, please.
It is the year 2006. Optimus Prime is back from the dead. Again? He'll be back some more. Don't worry. And we have just... you see the return? This is after part 3. I'm out of a job, I guess, because the series ended, so I don't give a fuck about this. And I guess Prime's inspecting the troops, or what? Sometimes New Jersey creeps in there. I don't know why. So, here you go. 2006. Well, Autobots, we won, so that's cool. I'm really happy you all came together to help me out and support me, even though I was complaining that something terrible was going to happen at some time, and then it did, and it somehow... No, we don't talk... I don't think you were in this episode.
You're welcome, Prime.
Who are you?
One of the people you're talking to. One of the Autobots.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah,
You're
Prime.
You're
it was great serving
You're
under you.
You're welcome.
Now, I'm going to say, you troops, you're unruly, you're sloppy, you're the sorriest army I've ever had, and I've never seen anything so wonderful in my life. Now, I've had a lot of different lives.
Aw, thanks.
Yep. You're welcome, guy.
Thanks.
I know you.
Wow. Gee.
Hey guys, it's me. It's not Jazz. I'm actually the ghost of Scatman Crothers. I'm back too.
Holy shit.
Wow. That's amazing.
Speaking of people who are back, hey, Prime, it's Ironhide. I know you thought I was dead, but I got better. I got something I want to say to you. Us troops, we want to join in a little sing-along to show how much we like you. We'll follow the old man wherever he wants to go, long as he wants to go to opposite the foe. Opposite to the foe is what I said. We'll stay with the old man wherever he wants to stay, long as he stays away from the battle's fray. Because we love him, especially when he keeps us on the ball.
On the ball.
And we'll tell the kiddies we answer duty's call with the grandest son of a soldier of them all.
Yay.
And so on and so forth.
Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. That's the song I know. I don't know nothing about nothing else. Unless you need to be saved from your psychic dad killing you in a hotel.
Just watching this video from the outside, Scatman Carruthers really kind of tried to steal Prime's moment.
He did come. Well, he is back from the dead too, so he's like he has important. I guess
He probably has low social awareness.
he really didn't seem to have anything to impart from beyond the veil, but I'm glad he showed up.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't hate the guy or anything.
We
Hey
love
guys, it's Jazz. I'm here with the Scatman Crothers. Isn't that weird?
Very meta.
Hit stop on this for a second. All right, well, that was okay.
We love you, Prime.
Oh, wait.
It's
Hit play on the video.
The bit's
Oh,
over. Wow. So it was White Christmas the whole time.
But, yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
Remember when we
like
did
White
Shakatomi
Christmas.
Plaza?
We actually went out last Friday and did a whole planning meeting around this.
That's incredible.
It's the first time we've ever actually planned ahead for something like this.
So Transformers Zone, is a new term I learned in researching this, which I probably should have known way earlier. OVA, which is original video animation, basically an episode or episodes that were not released on TV like the rest of the series and only available on home media. This seems to happen a lot with anime. Transformers Zone was released on VHS in Japan July 21st, 1990. And basically the waning popularity of the Transformers by this time led Zone, which was originally going to be a whole series, they truncated it into a single direct-to-video episode in mid-production. We watched it on Karayudo fan subs on YouTube. I think we also used him for Scramble City. And I think the only English subtitles for Zone are fan subs, as that channel's name implies.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the only ad I have for that is that the storyline for Zone is much broader than what we see in this single episode, because in TV Magazine, it does have an overall manga and story pages associated with it. And so the whole storyline really runs for about a year, like all of these really, between late 89 and early 91. Yeah, the Zone fiction, it tells the story of the Micromasters' various teams. You've got the Race Car Patrol, Off-Road Patrol, Battle Patrol, Rescue Patrol, Jet Patrol, and Supercar Patrol. The gist of it is there's this planet called Micro, and it is then somehow, through the storytelling, been upgraded by the Autobots to a new planet called Zone. And it's part of, I guess, a zone of defense that they're trying to establish against the Decepticons. And Decepticons are jealous of that shit, so they want to create their own Decepticon version of the Zone. And speaking of Decepticons, they have a new leader, Emperor Violengigua.
Is that the dude with the three heads?
Yeah.
I just want to see that word. I love the animation, but they don't waste any time getting into some crazy shit going on at the beginning of this, and the music is awesome. It's like that quintessential anime music.
Yeah.
I wanted to get his credit in there. Violin Jiger.
Yeah.
VJ is a kind of spectral force that was created from the souls, and this is not explained on screen. I'm just giving you a little back history here. It's created from the souls of many Decepticon warriors. He has 3 faces because 5 would be excessive.
The 5th face.
It also has kind of 3 insectoid transformation modes. It's a weird character.
I don't think we see him transform in this.
No,
though.
you
we
really
just
don't
see him
even
in
see
like
him.
shadow form in the space.
Yep.
The animation is good though. I love the animation, especially the transformation sequences of like the battle city on Zone, and the illustrations of the hands are really good.
Here's his 3 faces. Here's his.
It's almost like a quintesson.
Insectoid modes.
It looks more like in humanoids.
It really does. It does for sure. Its goal is total universal domination, and to do that, he needs Energon Z, which is a special kind of superfuel developed by the Autobots on the planet Micro. But he also needs Zodiac energy, which is, depending on your continuity, it's an energy source made from all the combined life energy of a previous reality that ultimately sparked the Big Bang, creating the universe as we know it.
Yeah, and it's on Earth.
And it's on Earth. So the episode that we see, which I think has its own manga dedicated to this episode, so it's not like this exists and the manga supplements it. I think it also exists in the manga, and then they translated it to this episode.
Yeah, I have some stuff about the manga in general.
And I think there are some discrepancies between what we've seen on screen and the storyline of the manga as well. But we start things off at the planet Fermia, or I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say it that way. Feminia, yes.
Feminia.
It's this beautiful bi-ringed planet similar to Earth in many ways, with its water trees, human-like characters, and intelligent pink flying rabbits. And
Imusa.
Jagger recruits 9 Decepticon demon generals who we know as Bruticus, Predaking, Abominus, Minosaur, Devastator, Tripticon, Overlord, Black Zarek, and King Poseidon, a.k.a. Piranacon.
So many capes.
Lots of capes.
Before this series, they were sent off to go to different worlds and steal their energy. But for this episode, you've got Overlord, Abominus, and Minosaur, and they go to Feminia and just fuck it up.
Yep.
Nuclear explosions, carpet bombing, all kinds of spear-throwing madness. Victory Saber and his Autobots show up just in time to save some civilians, including a blue-haired punk named Kane, but the planet itself is utterly destroyed, along with Victory Saber.
Yeah, it opens up hot with the destruction of an entire planet of people.
Yeah.
And maybe Victory Saber.
Oh, yeah. Well, plant that seed, why don't you?
Is he really dead? The Transformers are crying.
Yeah, they are.
I fucking love the opening theme song for this.
Oh,
It's fantastic.
It's so
The
fucking
music's
good.
great.
I listened to it like 5 times.
So good.
Just the synths.
Awesome.
I also like the lyrics.
It's so poppy and synthy. It's like an 80s comedy montage is starting.
It's a lot going on. It's big.
Yeah, I will also say that this episode, as with this theme, has like emotional whiplash because it goes from like something real super sad to like joy.
Yes. Very interesting observation. I may speak to that a little bit when I talk about anime music.
Oh,
I'm glad you're picking up on that.
God, for a show that had 1 episode, they blew a big part of the budget on this opening sequence.
Well, presumably when they started, because this is supposed to be the pilot episode, so they, I'm sure that they were like, shut it down after this was already done.
Heavily featuring the goofball rabbit creatures.
Isuna? No, Inusa is its name. Their name. Hey! As a
Director placard.
Like, what is this, like Animaniacs?
76 days go by for some reason.
Specifically, yeah, very specific.
There is a brief interjection where you have VJ, and he's happy about the fact that this planet's destroyed, and he's ready to break ground on his own Decepticon Zone project. Time to get some super energy. So we go 76 days later, and the Microbots and the Feminians are kicking it on the Autobot Zone planet defense base with the Sassy-ass rabbits and shit, listening to some sweet sax music and bragging about having all this super energy on Z when the Decepticon generals Bruticus, Abominus, Overlord, and Minosaur show up and start blowing everything up. Unfortunately, the Powered Masters, not to be confused with the Power Masters, are off base, still looking for the ashy corpse of Starsaber.
That zone base where they transform is just like aching to be a playset, and it was. There are quite a few toys released from Zone, but almost all were Autobots, except for the 4 Racetrack Patrol Team and Metro Titan, which is a redeco of Metroplex.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've heard that of that character.
This also, not to be all music guy, but this scene, the music when we cut to Zone, sounds like we should be watching a woman in a wrap walking down the beach and then cut to a fancy restaurant.
It's very Careless Whisper.
Yeah,
Maybe we just play a little of that.
Oh, yeah. This is like a Newport ad.
I'm getting moonlighting vibes.
That's great stuff.
Just to explain the Powered Masters a little bit, they are some mega-sized, super buff, essentially officers in the Autobot ranks comprised of Diatlas, Sonic Bomber, and Roadfire. They each are formidable in their own right, but the three combine to form Big Powered.
Yeah.
Is Roadfire in this? Isn't it just Sonic Bomber and...
It might just be the 2 that we see, but there are 3 of them. Like, any 2 of them can also have their own combinations because you have Sky Powered and Land Powered. So I won't be going into the names of all the Micromasters because why do that? So our Demon Generals show up, they tear up the base, they steal the fucking Energon Z, which is a big kind of like, I don't know, it's not a globe, it's more of a, it looks more like a transformation cog.
It looks like the energy source in that episode that I can't remember the name of, but where Optimus and I think it's a Dr. Arkeville episode where Optimus and Megatron team up. and fire out of Megatron.
Yeah, it does look.
That's
like
exactly what it looks like.
Or the eyeball. Wasn't there an episode where you had
Metroplex's eyes? That was horrifying.
The generals, they tear up the base, they steal the Energon Z, some teams chase after the generals in a very lukewarm pursuit, but they were ultimately intercepted by Demon General Black Zarok, who fries their ships and then just leaves. Well, I don't know why he didn't just kill them.
I don't know.
But
they can't commit.
Yeah. Reinforcements arrive of the other Micromasters. They repair the ship. They trace the Energon Z's path to Earth. Oh, shit! It all ends up back on Earth, baby. We go back to Zone, and who shows up? The Powered Masters, and they've got the not-quite-dead-yet Victory Saber with them. Mm-hmm. He's going to need some bed rest, but in the meantime, the Powered Masters are going to have to get to Earth because they know if Energon Z is mixed with Earth's hidden Zodiac energy, fuck, game over.
I guess. They say it's the power that creates universes, but then they say it's the power of a star, and I'm like, those are very different power levels.
I think so. We go to Earth, where shit is fucking nuts. The Demon Generals are fucking up Earth. You got Trypticon, King Poseidon, Devastator, and you've got some Micromasters who are already there. They're trying to hold everybody back, or hold back the generals, but they're about to get it. And Kane is there with them as well, by the way. Our friend Kane from the planet Thermomeria.
From Faminia.
Kane also creates a relationship with a local human.
Akira.
Atlas and Sonic Bomber show up in time to save the Micromasters from Predaking and Trypticon. There's some pretty cool fight scenes.
Why is Predaking's face so weird?
All their faces. I think they're all wearing helmets of some sort.
Predaking's face looks like a Tinker Toy robot. It's very strange.
It's one of the more striking differences. But if you look at them all, they all seem to be wearing some kind of helmet.
Okay.
Or it's a replacement head. I don't know.
This is only for me, but it'll like whenever we were on Zone, the Emusa, is that her name? It's their name. Emusa, the flying rabbit thing, complains that there are no flowers or plants. That'll be now.
So they love it on
later.
Earth.
Yeah, they're very into Earth.
Yeah, did you not notice all of them have weird heads? Like, look at Trypticon and his crazy maw with the horns coming around the side.
Yeah.
It's like they have some sort of add-on attachment upgrades. But Predaking's looks weird.
It does.
Because it looks like a face.
It does.
With like an angry cartoon face.
Yeah, it's just basically, it's like long eyes and a unibrow, kind of, and it just looks it's funny to me.
It is pretty goofy. The action is a little hard to follow, but the Powered Masters hold off the generals, including Devastator, who comes from underneath the earth before turning around and going back in. The Powered Masters pursue Devastator in a drill mode of their own, and they all simultaneously find the legendary Zodiac, which Devastator finds first, grabs, and makes off with it. Diatlas pursues, and then King Poseidon ropes Diatlas. Devastator returns, hands off the Zodiac to Poseidon, and prepares to drill through Diatlas' skull. Diatlas transforms, drills into a lava well, washing Devastator away in a molten rock tsunami. So he's dead, presumably. He's out of the picture.
He's out of the fight anyway.
Sonic Bomber, still fighting Trypticon and Predaking, pursues Poseidon, who makes a poorly timed forward pass to Predaking Trypticon, intercepted by Diatlas.
Here, that part. So when we see the Zodiac initially underground, it looks like a crystalline spiderweb. And then whenever Poseidon passes it off like a football, it looks like a human heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's just they're trying to figure this out as they go too.
And then
maybe inside the center of that.
I'm going to say it was
in Devastator's
he's holding
and it looked like a heart.
Maybe
it's a heart inside of the crystal. And
that's what I'm going to go with.
Shards.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah,
it's gross.
It is.
It's not the last.
It's
gross
weird.
Thing we'll see here.
No,
in this,
it's an odd choice in my.
It certainly is. I wonder if it's I don't know. Whatever. It just it really shocked me.
Like the heart of the universe.
Well, yeah, then we'll see in a minute. Never mind. Go ahead.
Trypticon opens his Dino Maw. He's got that Energon Z in his mouth, and he's going to unleash that shit. Diatlas takes a shot in the titties as Trypticon prepares to unleash another Energon Z blast. Diatlas sort of prays to the Zodiac to protect them with the power that created the universe, and the Energon Z is emitted, and the external crust to the Zodiac is polished off. It flashes a bright light, and it's Diatlas and Sonic Bomber then combine into a fucking base mode, zone mode, baby.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty cool. So yeah, now it's now in the form of an orb with a galaxy in it. It's its third form.
Right. The four demon generals attack, but as the Transformers Zone theme song plays, the general's invincible armor has been incapacitated, so everybody but Predaking is now out of the mix. Damn. I think they say damn it.
They do.
The generals try to escape, but Diatlas and Sonic Bomber pursue Predaking, and they use their zone power to bisect Predaking, killing his ass. And we see that he appears to have an organic brain.
That was real weird.
Yeah,
I probably would have
strange.
noticed it if you hadn't pointed it out beforehand, but yeah, I was waiting for it.
It's weird.
It's real weird. Yeah, he has a brain in his head. Also, that cutter turns into a Z, which I thought was fun. Like
Nice
the show,
callback.
like the beginning of the show.
So at this point, there's some dragging closing commentary about how the Earthlings want to learn about Transformers, and the Transformers want to learn about Earth, and they all want to learn about Planet Micro,
Which is presumably
but
where the series would go.
They only are going to teach the other about the other if the other teaches about the other. It's some weird circular dialogue that goes on a really long time.
Quid pro quo.
We return to Planet Zone, where Victory Saber has recovered. New friends, Kane and Musa the Rabbit and Akira the Human are there in a killer opulent shindig, Victory Saber coronates Diatlas as the new Autobot Supreme Commander, and the crowd chants his name in celebration and support.
Yeah, and the Amusa quite literally gets her flowers. She has a big bag of flowers.
Yeah, or whatever a moose's gender is. They're
there.
happy. They're happy about the flowers and the nature.
I had a lot of fun watching this one.
Yeah. That's Zone, as we referred to. It's only part of the continuity. Check out the story pages and manga if you
Speaking of which, here's a little bit. I found this on TF Wiki about the Japanese Generation 1 cartoon continuity. The precedent of the latter installments of the Japanese Generation 1 franchise, that entire waves of product could be supported via the continuation of the cartoon storyline through a comic or a couple story pages, had a peculiar effect on Japanese Transformers media going forward. The story pages of Japanese Generation 2 franchise picked up right where Operation Combination left off in 1995, which was after this. And the storyline of the Japanese Generation 1 cartoon never really stopped from there. The resulting sprawling, exquisite corpse attached to Takara Tomi's Generation 1 and Beast Wars flavored products continues to this very day, and it is become the largest continuous setting in the entire Transformers brand.
Huh. Fascinating.
I love the term exquisite corpse. I don't think I knew that before. But it is like we used to do them.
Yeah, the game Exquisite Corpse.
Yeah. It's basically where we called them jams, but then it was one of us would draw part of something, passes the next person to continue the drawing. Although technically, I think in traditional Exquisite Corpses, you're supposed to fold the page so the next artist can only see the portion they're meant to add to.
Yeah, you fold it into thirds, and one does the head, one does the torso, one does the legs, or whatever that part. That
we just used to do add-ons.
Yeah, we just did add-ons. Our jams.
Maybe the Two-Man War comic is a sort of Exquisite Corpse.
Sort of. The jams always devolve pretty quickly to just like dicks.
Sure.
we were drawn.
We were boys.
I feel like if we drew a jam today, it's what would happen.
It would do the same.
I do have a little something, and then I'd love to hear more about music. There's no way that we would want to do a full voice actor segment, having covered so much material, but thought it would be appropriate to shout out Tesho Genda, who voiced Convoy through the entire Japanese G1 series, in addition to Orion Pax and Omega Supreme. But all seasons, the movie, and numerous other Transformers media since, he's basically been their Peter Cullen for that role. In Japanese media, he seems to be about as prolific as Peter Cullen, having voiced for many anime, including City Hunter, Angel Hunter, Street Fighter, Pokemon, Bago, and various Marvel anime. He's also a dubber, with roles including Tigger, Batman of the DC animated universe, and Mace Windu in Star Wars. Tesho Genda is the official, I don't know how you get this title, but the official Japanese dub artist for Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Steven Seagal, and Dan Aykroyd.
All right. I feel like I've read about this guy before.
Yeah. I guess Dan Aykroyd is... maybe he likes his characterizations to be super masculine in Japan. I don't know. So, yeah. What do you got? Talk about music.
So, being that I liked this, the music in here, and comparing it to some of the music that comes across in United States cartoons, even though some of the elements of the G1 music that we've had come through, parts of it we really like the da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, that thing.
Yeah, that thing.
Seriously, you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the
Autobop?
Yeah,
Autobop, yeah.
I like all of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Listen to there's lots of soundtrack compilations on YouTube. Yeah, it's all great.
So, what Japanese culture, and at least in their pop music, they have a whole like anime. They call it anason or anime songu. It's a genre of music that it's its own thing in Japanese pop music, and it's been around for a long time, and it's kind of recognized as its own separate industry and actually style. And they work to the point where they release, like, it's not uncommon in Japanese culture to hear songs from anime just out of context and just played out.
Just in the world?
Yeah.
All right.
And a lot of that though has now been tied in with video games as well. You got a lot of Japanese just video games, and there's a whole market and culture and a type of style. And for the most part, like when I hear an anime or a video game song, I'm like, it sounds really familiar but really different at the same time. Just in the way it's the pop element in it, it's elevated in a certain way. That's particular, I think, to how Japanese culture, at least the music industry, musicians have taken music from jazz and a lot of different elements of Western music, and they take it, and because of the theory is because of their language, how their language is very, consonant vowel, and it's very like staccato in its delivery compared to certain like Western, with the exception like Spanish, but like for the most part, like English will promote a different style, melody flow than say something that is more like Japanese or staccato-based language. And so that's a lot of the melody lines in a lot of anime stuff is a little bit more, it's kind of like ramped up a notch, a little bit more staccato. But also Japanese, the melodic choices, the tonal and the mode quality choices that they can make a very happy melody also seem sad, or also like a very sad bluesy thing, kind of blues arrangement, have an odd optimistic spin to it. So when you listen to a lot of anime music, like a very happy melody in the song, but because of the choices they're making in it, it's like it's somehow sad at the same time.
Or our Western bias for hearing a certain kind of music leads us to believe it's sad when really it could be very optimistic.
I don't know how feeling sad is an incorrect interpretation of something that's supposed to be happy, though. That doesn't...
Right, but I'm saying culturally, maybe we perceive the sound of the music to make us feel one way, but we don't understand the lyrics or the context of the Japanese interpretation, and so it sounds sad to us, but maybe it's not, or vice versa.
I would say no. I understand what you're saying, but I think that I think a really good quality of music is to give you both somehow, and so I don't think it's being misinterpreted because we're not in that culture. But I think we're just not in. Like when you hear something kind of different about it, it's like what is this different thing about it? They're adding a certain, or they're really honing in on the element of like a happy song that they are kind of adding some qualities to it that are also kind of like a sad melody, or vice versa. It's not like that we're not understanding. We're not. It's like that's actually a happy song, but you're understanding it as sad because you don't understand Japanese culture. I don't think that's accurate. I think it's just that they're more their sophistication with what they're doing with that particular genre of music is really good at giving you something upbeat that might be kind of sad or melancholy.
There's nuance and
there's something in it. So just like the next time you listen to certain anime songs or video game songs, just be really aware that there's this interesting tension there of something that you would think, well, this is sad, but it's kind of happy and quirky, or this is a really happy song with this sad or morose element to it. I can't put my finger on, and it's because of the modal choices that they're making with the arrangement when they're doing melodies and certain things like that.
I will take your word for it.
There's a really good link that I can give to you, Ryan, that you can add to our conversation that basically talks about J-pop music theory and it's the influence observations, and it really does a lot better at explaining this than I did, which is basically J-pop can make major sound sad and minor sound happy.
There was a song we listened to because Wes and I liked to do where we watch those videos where they swap the major and minor. And there was a song that I find sad that is in major, but it's an American pop song, but I can't think of what it is.
I mean, and this happens in all music, but just the Japanese in this particular genre, it tends to be a particular like major element of it.
Hey?
Nice. Well, I guess that wraps it up.
You didn't want to do the real world?
There's other segments to this show. Yeah.
That's it. That's the only other segment.
In the real world.
Well, we don't have an actual episode for this one, so I decided to pick and choose from over the 4 years that these Japanese series stretched, 1987 to 1990. In the American Top 40, number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 year-end chart for 1988, we have the song Faith by George Michael, who also wrote and produced the song. It was the second single from his debut solo album of the same name. Supposedly, the idea came from a UK music exec and publisher Dick Leahy, and he basically said to Michael, "You should write a rock and roll pastiche." Originally, the song was only 2 minutes long, and no guitar solo or much guitar in it at all, and Michael never intended for it to be a single, but everyone kept telling me how much they loved it, so we went back and punched it up and extended it, and the song has a famous Bo Diddley classic rock and roll beat, and begins with an organ playing Wham's song Freedom. Mm-hmm. The music video is pretty famous, mostly George Michael, sexy stubble, black leather jacket, jeans, aviator sunglasses. He's playing guitar and gyrating near a Wurlitzer jukebox. The theme is essentially masculine eye candy sex object. And I did not know this, but American nu metal band Limp Bizkit regularly covered Faith in their live performances as they were coming up.
I think that was their first single.
Yeah,
I remember it being on the radio.
That's what got their attention.
I don't think it was their first single, but it was because there was a lot of pushback from their producers not to even cover it on their album at all. But it was on there. But yeah, maybe it was the first single. I don't know. I just know that
maybe it wasn't their first single, but
it was
I think
controversial.
it's what brought them to the mainstream.
Yeah,
their energetic, weird performance by guitarist Wes Borland in strange costumes gained the band quite a following through word of mouth. So fucking thanks a lot for Limp Bizkit, George.
I'm sure we'll cover them more in the Beast Wars days.
Not if I have anything to say
they
about
had some
it.
hits. They had some.
Well, there's a whole segment that I tried to introduce this day in nu metal, but I can't. When you give me a date, I can't. I've been trying to what happened in nu metal, and I can't find a good place where it can tell you, so it's kind of falling flat. But
Faith held the number one.
Yeah.
Is that true? Or are you making a joke?
No, I did.
I think it was on our text.
It's on our text threads.
Like we're going to be dealing with the '90s. It's just
it was one of those things where I was like coming up with no one answers those kind of things when I put them out there. It's okay.
I feel like I did.
You did. You gave me a date. You were like, all right, a date, and then I did it, and it was like, oh, that didn't work out very well. You guys are right. That doesn't work.
That is DOA. Faith held the number one spot for 4 weeks in the U.S. in 1988 and was the best-selling single of that year. It did very well in the UK, but was kept off the number one spot by Bee Gees' You Win Again.
I guess they did.
I don't even know what that's... I did not look it up, but I can't place that song. I can't think of it off the top of my head, and I like the Bee Gees. But
it's a follow-up to their hit single, You Win.
It's a little lazy, I felt. Number one at the box office, there were a slew of great number one films in the year 1989. Rain Man, Pet Sematary, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Uncle Buck, Harlem Nights, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Back to the Future 2, and, of course, Batman. But we're not going to talk about any of those.
Aww.
Nope. Today we're going to cover the film that was number one for 2 weeks in February of 1989, the Tom Hanks comedy, The Burbs.
I love that movie.
I do as well.
The Dante-verse.
The Burbs was directed by Joe Dante of Gremlins fame and stars Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, Rick Ducommun, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, R.I.P., Corey Feldman, and Wendy Shaw. Hanks is a suburban homeowner, Ray Peterson, and the film takes place over a week-long vacation from work where he plans to just sit around the house and do nothing. A new family, the Klopeks, move into a dilapidated, terrifying-looking house on the street, and Ray notices strange noises and lights coming from the basement of the house one night. Ray and his neighbors Art and an intense Vietnam vet, Mark, start spying on the Klopeks, believing them to be murderers, especially after they see the youngest one drive to the end of the driveway at night, stuff an oversized garbage bag into their trash can, and beat the ever-loving fuck out of it to shove it down into the bin. And it has one of my favorite lines in the movie where Tom Hanks as Ray says, I've never seen that. I've never seen anybody drive their garbage down to the street and bang the hell out of it with a stick. I've never seen that. So this, Caleb, have you seen this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a great movie. It's been a long time.
I love this movie. Not everyone agrees with me. It has pretty mixed reviews, but it's fun. I won't spoil the ending. Since it's Joe Dante, of course, Dick Miller has a cameo. And also Robert Picardo, who was the doctor on Voyager, if you don't know.
He's the older... Wait, I'm confused. Is he in Gremlins Salt as well?
He's in Gremlins too.
Okay. He's
Are
not
you talking
the
about
older
Dick
neighbor
Miller
guy.
or Robert Picardo?
I don't know. Who's the old man that's like the... He's in Gremlins and Gremlins 2. He's like the neighbor guy.
Dick Miller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wrong guy.
The movie slowly builds on Main Street small town paranoia and boredom in a super fun way and heads to a literal blowout climax. The entire film takes place on a cul-de-sac, which captures the insular, weird nature of a middle-class neighborhood very well, and it could almost be a play. Mm-hmm. I love this movie. It's one of those background movies where I can just put it on any time of the day. And it did quite well, earning $49 million on an $18 million budget.
Fantastic.
It's almost impossible to imagine a dark comedy being number one at all nowadays, let alone 2 weeks back to back. And I know I say it all the time, but I just would wish we could bring back the mid-budget anything.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good to swing back the other way. I hope. We'll see. Little fun fact, Walter's toy poodle Queenie in the movie is played by the same dog that played Precious in Silence of the Lambs.
Interesting. That dog's making bank.
It's bona fide.
Yeah.
Bona fide. I didn't write that down. That's just
off the cuff.
Genius. Fun facts from this week in history. Finally, let's see what was happening in the world in 1990. February 11th, Nelson Mandela was released after 27 years in prison in South Africa. April 8th, David Lynch's Twin Peaks premieres on ABC. April 25th, the Hubble telescope was put into orbit by the Space Shuttle orbiter Discovery. August 7th, the United Nations deploys troops to Saudi Arabia to begin Operation Desert Shield. And August 25th, the UN Security Council authorizes military action against Iraq. For anyone who doesn't know, Iraq, led by Saddam Hussein, invaded Kuwait, and it was a problem for countries like us who love oil. September 20th, East and West Germany ratify unification. November 12th, the World Wide Web, as we know it, is proposed by CERN computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee and Robert Kelly. December 1st, British and French workers meet in the middle of the Channel Tunnel linking the two countries beneath the English Channel. And December 22nd, Lech Walesa is sworn in as Poland's first popularly elected president.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a tunnel underneath the English Channel?
Have you never ever heard of the tunnel?
No, I haven't. No, that's awesome. Can anybody just drive through it, or is it?
It's
just
a train.
For commercial purposes? Okay, it's a train.
I think maybe you can.
Is there a passenger?
I think
is
there
there a
is.
passenger train, or
Oh,
is it
yes.
just, is it all like for hauling?
No, it's a
Yeah.
passenger train. It's a big deal.
1990.
I've been to the English Channel, but I've not seen that.
The channel, baby.
The channel. Thanks for teaching me something new today,
Here's some birthdays.
and then making me feel dumb about it.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
There's a New Mexico.
Do you have anything other than Mexican food? Birthdays in 1990. Kristen Stewart, Emma Watson, Margot Robbie, Jennifer Lawrence, The Weeknd, Soulja Boy, SZA, and JoJo.
Good year for sexy ladies being born.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
That's
it. That's the real world.
cool.
All
Choke
right.
on it, you fucking swine.
There you go.
If anyone's still listening to this episode, that'll almost certainly be 2 parts.
Yes, I'm thinking.
Well, I don't know what we've learned about these Christmas videos that we've been sent. But speaking of video, we're getting another call.
Bring.
I'm not even weirded out about it this time. Here,
Yes,
okay.
it is I again. I believe that concludes that VHS cassette. We have many more VHS to go through. We are going to watch everything that Cybertron has recorded in the last 50 billion years.
That's
One by
Watch
one,
it for
you're
what
going
purposes?
to be going through this. The next up is a bunch of the Japanese ones that I thought I had given you a video cassette of before, and then we will do the War of Beasts, which is my favorite pornographic reenactment of many dinosaurs that turn into fleshy robots. It's very strange.
Yep.
We got real kinky in the early aughts. But I'm gonna. Shock Mommy just made me up some nuggies to leave for Optimus, and some nuggies and dew to leave on the hearth, the fireplace.
Yes.
We don't have fire here because it is space. but we try what we can with LEDs. But anyway, we do this to sate the beast that is Optimus in his
yes.
red, white, and green outfit, so that he does not take my face in the eve.
So it's more like a
I bid
Krampus.
you all adieu. Yes.
Shockwave, a Merry Optimus to you.
Merry Optimus to you
Yes.
as well. I hope he is gray and not in the colors of Jesus Christ.
Wow. I'm surprised you know about that.
And to you as well.
All right. Bloop.
I think a Transformers nativity scene would be pretty awesome.
You know, it's surprising I don't see more of those on
Yeah.
like social media. Get it together, 6-0.
That's art. That's art. Booty box idea. Booty box idea. There we go. We got it. It's ours now.
Next time on the Autobot Decepticast.
We're going to get bestial.
Throw down.
Like my favorite new rap group, Beast Reality. You just Google that. It's fun times. So thank you to Mike and Michael and Shockwave for sharing their content.
Yep. I think everyone thought that went really well.
It was so smooth. Thanks to Alphamagnus, who wasn't on this episode, but
He's around.
He's just a good guy. Figure we just shout him out. Other than that, if you want to support the show, give us a review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. You can sub on YouTube. We, of course, have Patreon at patreon.com/APODcast. Check out all the levels of support. See if you want that booty box. There's merch, autopoddecepticast.com/store. And
Maybe we'll have new merch that'll be discounted for Christmas presents that'll be late, because at this point you're hearing this on the 17th or maybe the 26th or something.
if you don't want that merch, though, that old stanky, dusty merch, you can buy us a drink.
Yeah.
For $5 hairs,
That's right. Send us
price.
$5 hairs at APODcast on PayPal.
You tell
and
us what to drink?
Tell me what to drink, and we'll drink it.
You know, there's another way that we make money on this show.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I
Let's
decided
be
to talk about it in the form of a song that is featured in White Christmas to tie this back into the holidays.
honest. Okay.
And the song on White Christmas is called Snow. But
I know it.
I've put a little spin on it.
Great.
So I was going to play that for you guys.
Please.
Yeah. So see, I brought my little keyboard in here. Like that. It's kind of a symphony kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys ready for this? Joe.
Oh, God.
It won't be long before I mention Joe for Joe.
just for Joe.
Joe. All payment types are welcome, even at Venmo. Joe. The unknown patron's waiting for us to talk some Joe. Oh, where do they get their patience from? I don't know. Where Cobra Commander is screaming, he's frustrated, can you see? How's he supposed to take over the world? Why can't they just let him be? Oh, Joe. Those glistening jets and tanks all sitting in a row. There, I got it now. Oh, when Cobra blows them up, my taxes grow and grow. What's a podcast about Transformers with no Joe? No. Talking Joe with no dough. Joe. I don't remember if it's dough for Joe or Joe for Joe. There you go.
Wow.
That was my
Well,
dough
that
for
was
Joe song.
not an authorized song, but I'll take it.
It's covered under parody.
Yeah.
No, I meant by us. We did not know he was going to do that, but I loved it.
Well, he did bring a keyboard.
He
I've
did.
been sitting here the whole time
Oh,
wondering what
it's-
the hell he was going to do with it.
It's hard to notice things in this place.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
heard.
it's true. Like, you thought maybe that keyboard was already always there.
Thank you for reminding me of that potential money-making.
Yeah.
Operation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are no patrons waiting. He's got
Waiting
money.
on us.
Waiting on us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Won't fund the ones we want to do.
No. Which
I mean,
which
that's-
makes
that's
sense
why
Why
that
would you?
yeah, it's like if I buy something at a restaurant and they're like, this is what you're going to eat.
I mean,
They
actually, that
bring
is
you-
just where you go to a restaurant and you tell the chef to just make you whatever.
Yeah, but that's your
A little tasting
expectation.
menu.
Yeah.
All right. You can hang out with us, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, all of them at APODcast. And if you become a patron at any level, you have access to the Discord.
That's right. That's where we're mainly active.
Show notes, fun, references, links, all can be found on page for this episode at autopoddecepticast.com. That's it.
Bye. We
All right.
did it.
Happy holidays.
That's Japan.
Bye, bye, bye. And that's a wrap. So thank you all so much for joining us on this holiday special extravaganza. Not to mention the magic that is our year-long journey through the original G1 Transformers series. We're going to take a very, very brief holiday break, but we'll be back with an all-new episode on January 14th, where we will jump tits deep into the mid-1990s with the classic animated series Beast Wars. Everyone is excited. In the meantime, I am 100% sure that we have enough content cut out of this two-parter for a Patreon-exclusive minisode, so look out for that, all you wonderful patrons. And guess what? There may or may not be a Jope-isode lurking in the wings coming up very soon as well. So, to everybody out there, we hope you have a happy and safe holiday season, and we will see you in the new year. Also, we're going to TFCon LA, all three of us, so we cannot wait, and we hope to see you there in sunny La La Land. 2024, baby, what a year it's going to be, where nothing goes wrong, and all the horrible things that have been going on in the world over the past decade or so are completely fixed. That's my prediction, because why not start off the new year by setting ourselves up for disappointment? All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye, bye, bye. Pistols at dawn.
Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes, 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 yes.